All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to explore a pretty simple, but honestly, a radical idea. It's one that connects an ancient Greek philosopher, a couple of French thinkers, and an incredible science fiction writer. And it's all about change, identity, and really who we are.
You know that feeling, right? That sense that you're just in a rut. Your life has become this kind of standing pool of water. It's the same routine, day in, day out. You start to feel out of sync, like you're trying to be this fixed, solid thing in a world that is constantly always moving.
And we've all seen this quote, probably on a poster somewhere, Heraclitus. And we usually think, yeah, okay, the world is always changing, got it. But what if there's a deeper way to read it? What if you can't step in the same river twice because you aren't the same person twice? What if you're the river too?
To get our heads around this, let's follow a story. So this is Flowing Water. On paper, her life is totally stable. She's built this identity over 2 decades. The career, the home, the whole shebang. She's running a version of herself that has worked just fine for a long, long time. But deep down, something feels off. Not broken exactly, just misaligned. That identity she's built so carefully, it's become like a dam. It's holding back the natural flow of who she could be. So she feels stuck, but what she's really feeling is the pressure building up behind that dam. The river wants to move.
And then comes this question. Well, it's one of those questions that doesn't really demand an answer. It's more like a key, It creates an opening, a little crack in the dam. It's an invitation to just step outside the story she's been telling herself and see what else is out there. And that single question sends her down a rabbit hole, which is where she runs into these 2 philosophers, Gilles Deleuze and Félix Guattari, and they offer her a completely new way of looking at herself. So they give us these 2 models for who we are. First, there's the tree. Our culture absolutely loves this one. It's a neat story, right? You start as a little seed, you grow roots, a trunk, then branches. It's clean, it's linear. But then they offer another model, the rhizome. And you should think of something like crabgrass or a fungal network. It's messy. It's a horizontal web where any point can connect to any other point. There's no clear beginning or end. And here's the absolute kicker. The tree, that's just the story. It's the neat, tidy summary we tell people at parties to make sense of our lives. But the rhizome, that huge, tangled, messy web of our experiences, our thoughts, our relationships, that's what's actually real. You're not a thing that has connections. You are the sum of all your connections. This is such a great way to picture it. You walk through a forest, you see a mushroom, and you think, oh, there's a mushroom. But that's just the tiny visible part. The real organism is the mycelium, that massive, sprawling, invisible network underground connecting everything. The most important stuff is happening where you can't even see it. Okay, so with her mind kind of blown by this whole rhizome thing, Flowing Water stumbles upon her next guide, the visionary sci-fi writer Octavia Butler. And for Butler, this isn't just some cool abstract philosophy, no. For her, this is an urgent instruction for survival. These 3 words are the absolute heart of Butler's philosophy, which she called Earthseed. She's not talking about a God who causes change or some being separate from the world. For Butler, the divine, the ultimate truth of the universe, is the process of change itself. God is the flow. God is the river. And this leads us to the core principles of Earthseed. They're simple, but they're incredibly profound. It's this constant feedback loop. You're not just a passive observer in the world. You're in a constant dance with it. And survival isn't about standing still and resisting change. It's about learning the steps to the dance and even helping to shape where it goes next. And look, Butler did not sugarcoat this stuff. She knew transformation is hard. It can be painful. It means taking apart the self you thought you knew. But for her, this becoming otherwise isn't a self-help luxury. It's a biological imperative. It's what all living things have to do to keep on living. You become other or you fade away. So, armed with these huge new ideas, the rhizome and God is change, Flowing Waters starts to actually move. And it's not some one big dramatic leap. It's a series of small decisions that start to redirect the flow of her life. So first up, the application. She applies for that job she'd always told herself she wasn't ready for. Second, the friendship. She finally ends a relationship that was just running on fumes, making space for something real. And finally, the journey. She just goes.
She takes a solo trip to a new city with no map and no real plan, just to see what happens. And it's on this trip, this little experiment in just wandering like a rhizome, that everything finally crystallizes for her. All these abstract ideas suddenly snap into focus and become intensely personal. Her walking eventually leads her, maybe not by accident, to the bank of a river. One of those city rivers, you know? It's been channeled, built around, mostly ignored by everyone rushing past. But she stops, and she just stands there and watches it flow.
And as she's watching, she starts to see something more than just water. She starts to see a reflection of herself.
She realizes this river, it's not some pure, crystal clear mountain stream. It's complicated. It's carrying a lot of history, a lot of sediment with it.
And yeah, it's been shaped by the city, boxed in by concrete walls, but it hasn't stopped. It's still powerful. It's still carving its own path. It's still moving. It's middle-aged.
And that's when it hits her, like me. She's not just looking at a river anymore. She's looking in a mirror. They're both these complicated, middle-aged things that are still, despite everything, flowing. And this is it. This is the moment. The final piece clicks into place. That whole idea of her stepping into the river, it dissolves. The line between her and the water just vanishes. She isn't a solid thing meeting a liquid thing. She's flow meeting flow. The self isn't a thing at all. It's a process. It's a current. You are the river.
And this brings us right back to the beginning, to Heraclitus. That feeling of losing your footing, of letting go of the old self. It feels like you're going down. But what if that's the very same path as rising up to become something new? The dissolution isn't destruction. It's just making space for new growth.
So, the question that all this leaves us with isn't about how to force some big change in your life. It's about how to allow the change that's already happening. The river of you is already flowing. So the only real question is, what dam are you going to remove? What old story, what fixed idea, what fear are you ready to let go of just to let the water find its way?